Ryan Shazier, Bo Jackson, Sterling Sharpe, and Sandy Koufax. These are just a few athletes who had suffered injuries throughout their careers that changed their careers forever. Injuries are a part of sports, and I'm pretty sure almost all of us have endured an injury that caused us to miss a few games and a few practices. But little do fans and spectators realize the time and effort it takes to overcome these injuries, as we as athletes see as roadblocks in our careers. We all know today I'm here to talk about the seriousness of injuries, athletes who have endured injuries throughout their careers that have changed their careers, and the mental health side of injuries. We all know how it feels to miss out on something we truly care about. The seriousness of injuries is important for all athletes to understand, because one little injury can turn into something major if you don't get it looked at right away. And a lot of athletes just like to say they can tough it out if it's just a sprain or not, but that sprain can turn into something major. I myself am guilty of trying to tough it out. It was last winter during hockey season when I got hit from behind and I wish I would have taken it more seriously, because after that it felt like someone had lit my arm on fire with pain, and I had the trainer look at it and she's like, "You should probably sit out the rest of the night." And I refused because I wanted to keep playing. But I've come to learn that that was a bad idea, because later in the third period, I went to go hit somebody with that same shoulder, and I made the pain worse. And the next day, I went to go with a Callahan to look at it, and he said I messed up my AC joint, in which it's a joint right here in your shoulder, right where I circled, and my AC joint stretched, which caused my bone to move upwards, and now my bone is now sticking up through my shoulder right here, and it's most likely going to be like that for the rest of my life, because I didn't take that injury seriously. Now I'm going to tell you about the athletes whose careers have changed because of injuries. This man right here is Alex Smith. He was a pro football quarterback for 16 seasons in the NFL, and according to the Pro Reference Football website, Alex played in a total of 174 games. But in 2018, a game against the Texans, he was sacked and broke both his bones in his lower leg, the tibia and fibula, which caused him to miss the rest of the 2018 season. He spent all offseason rehabbing that injury, but come to the 2019 season, after many surgeries, he developed sepsis, which is a life-threatening bacterial infection. It got so bad to the point where they talked about amputating his leg, but he refused to give up hope, and he kept fighting, and he got through it, and in 2020 he made his first start again. But shortly after, in 2021, he retired from the NFL. Another athlete, Bobby Orr, a professional hockey defenseman in the NHL. He was a Hall of Famer. He was an outstanding player. He set many records for NHL defensemen and still holds those records, some of those records today. But according to the Delight.com website, he suffered reported injuries to his knees, which he took some time off, but he didn't take the right amount of time off. And to the right is what his knee looks like today, which still causes him issues in his everyday life. My third and final point, the mental health side of injuries. mental health is a huge factor in sports today, and also injuries too. But most people play sports to get away from the real world, the reality of what goes on in their life. But what happens when they get injured and they have to take that time off and they can't do what they do to get away from the real world? But the mental health can is as much risk as the injury itself, because if you take time off, I know depression can happen, and when depression gets really bad, people try to hurt themselves. So you're just putting yourself at risk as much as the injury. An example of this is Howie Morenz. He was he played center for the Montreal Canadiens, and in a game in Chicago, he got his foot stuck in the boards and was hit from behind and snapped his leg in half. He was then rushed to the hospital where doctors told him that he might have just played his final hockey game ever. And that put him into a deep state of depression, and in the next 2 weeks, he died from depression, and many reports say on the Bleacher Report website that he died from a broken heart because hockey was taken away from him. Today, I talked about the seriousness of injuries, athletes whose careers were changed because of injuries, and the mental health side of injuries. These are all important to understand as athletes. So the next time you have to miss a game or practice because of an injury, just remember it is for the better.